Hello and welcome to the Mindset Model Podcast. I'm Sarah Davis, your go-to confidence coach. This is the place where self-doubt gets kicked out, confidence gets turned up, and you get the tools to live the life you know you are meant for. In this podcast, we dive into real stories, mindset magic, we have guest experts, and the truth about what it really takes to live your best life. So grab your coffee, turn up the volume as we are raising our standards and stepping into the version of you who owns the room. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mindset Model Podcast. I am delighted to welcome you all today because today's guest, I have got an iconic leader. The one and only Kayleigh Greenacre is here today on my podcast. Now, Kayleigh is a business strategist. Hello, Kayleigh, and welcome. How are you today?
I'm so well, darling. Thank you so much for welcoming me onto the podcast. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. Honestly, I am buzzing. So just for my audience, just to introduce how I first came into Kayleigh's energy, it must have been around August time. I was just going through LinkedIn and Kayleigh popped up. I was like, oh. Now, the first thing I noticed was Kayleigh's energy, the way that she spoke to me. She slid into my DMs. I was like, this is just your energy was just amazing. I was like, wow, I really need to get to know this lady, like the way that you made me feel, just that iconic leader within you. And I was like, I have to have Kayleigh on my podcast to really share this with my listeners. So please tell us more about you, Kayleigh Greenacre. Who are you? Tell us about your journey. Tell us your story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. What a gorgeous introduction as well. So obviously I'm Kayleigh. And as you've already mentioned, I'm a business strategist, a mentor, speaker. And I'm the creator of the Actually I Can movement and the Iconic Hero movement. So a lot of what I do is around supporting female entrepreneurs to become iconic leaders in the industry so that they can become that leader, so that they can create the success, the freedom, the wealth, whatever it is specifically that they're aiming for. So that's kind of what I do. But my story itself, and I love sharing my story because hopefully this will resonate with a lot of people in different ways. But my story itself, in a nutshell, it kind of started with a lot of adaptation. And I feel that sort of going back a good few years now, I learned very early how to read people, how to really be responsible, how to be very reliable. But what that meant is through the whole of my 20s and actually into my early 30s, I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
So just to give a bit of context, I used to be an assistant head teacher. So I used to work in the education system and spent years sort of working up the ladder, sort of worked my way up the ladder very quickly in my 20s, became a senior leader very, very early on. So all of a sudden I had to be professional. I had to help the head teacher, obviously run the school. I oversaw the GCSEs and A-levels. So I had an awful lot of responsibility. And what came with that responsibility was people pleasing, was doing the things that I had to do, doing the things that was expected of me. And actually through my whole life, I have been that person. I've been a people pleaser. I've been someone who assumed that I had to do well in my GCSEs, then in my A-levels. I had to go to university. I had to get a professional job. I had to do this, had to do that, had to do what was expected. And so as I grew, as I sort of worked through my career, obviously I was that people pleaser. I was that person that just literally did what I was told to do. And I think for a long time, my self-worth, to be honest with you, came from holding everything together, from being strong, from not needing too much. And on the outside, that can look like real confidence, right? It look like
Absolutely.
I've got
Yeah.
it. I've
Yeah.
hold it all together. I've got it all together.
Yeah.
But actually inside, especially in my early 30s, inside I was constantly checking myself, editing myself, wondering if I was allowed to want more, to go a little bit different and do something a little bit different. And during COVID, I think this was a pinnacle time for so many people. I remember it so well. It was actually April to May time in 2020, in the middle of COVID, in the middle of lockdown. I was a key worker, so I was still going into school, and I had to put my child into nursery so that I could go to work, which didn't sound right considering I was looking after other people's
Yeah.
children, so I couldn't look after my own. And it was almost as if it's this realization and wake up call. So I've got a daughter. She is now 9. But back then she was 3. And it didn't make sense to me. And I had this kind of wake up call realization of, maybe this is my time. Maybe this is my opportunity. I want to show my daughter that actually women can become more than what is expected. We don't have to follow the stereotypical norms. We can actually break the rules and become whoever on earth we want to be. So it's kind of like my realization and wake up call at that moment. And I remember looking at my daughter and thinking, she's 3 years old. She's so vulnerable. She's in the middle of a pandemic which she has absolutely no clue about. And I want to show her that actually things can
Ooh.
be different. That you don't have to be stereotypically a teacher and go to university and things. I want to show her that actually you can create a new life, even in your 30s, and create something that really feels aligned. So that was my kind of wake up call. And that's where this whole entire business and movement started. And it started with an idea. It then developed into a book, which I wrote very quickly in pandemic. And then obviously it developed later on that year into a business, which today, many years later, I'm proud to say that it has grown, it has flourished. And obviously I'm supporting and impacting many people around the world. So I'm really happy with what we've managed to do.
An absolutely incredible, incredible story. Now, I know there is so many people listening to this podcast right now in awe, like, wow, I would love to do that. And what's really powerful about your story is you really explored the fact that actually I don't have to settle. Your catalyst was your daughter. And having that sustainable family life where you can grow, you can flourish, and you can show her that she can be a powerful woman herself. So that is amazing. So for our listeners that are thinking, now Kayleigh, that's all well and good, but what about people which are getting that self-doubt? Because I know so many people have these incredible ideas. I'd love to step out, do the things, build the businesses, but self-belief is so important. How did you build your self-belief and your self-confidence?
So I think in regards to sort of my self-belief and self-confidence, it was definitely something that I had to do kind of on a daily basis. I had to really lean into the understanding and the work, the mindset work of reminding myself why I'm here to do
Yeah,
the things that I'm doing. So,
yeah,
for anyone that's interested in sort of finding their purpose and ikigai, and there's so many different tools and exercises and things that you can do. But making that transition, doing what I did was scary.
yeah.
It was petrifying, absolutely petrifying. And I had to back myself, and to be honest with you as well, it really was a case of looking and, like I said, reminding myself of why am I actually doing this, because I think it's so easy to see something that looks a little bit scary and different from what you're used to and then shy away from it and walk in the opposite direction, right? So I think it was a lot of kind of, again, doing some inner work, really leaning into some exercises, some routines that would support me and help me, because at that time I had no one else really
Yeah.
supporting me. I had my parents and my friends, so obviously they were there, but at the same time they knew me as an assistant head teacher, so they they were kind of like, okay, you can do what you want to do, just go off, we believe in you. But no one really understood. No one really knew what I was doing, and I didn't have a community at the time. I didn't have all of my friends were teachers, all my parents were teachers. No one really understood what an entrepreneur really looked like or what that was. So yeah, so it's a lot of kind of self-belief and mindset work on a daily basis, and reminding myself that actually, yeah, I can do this. And that's where kind of the whole movement of actually I can came about, in those constant reassuring moments of, you can do this, but it's going to take consistency. It's going to take, you doing something, those little steps every single day in order to help you and support you in getting there. And I think that's the key thing here. It's, if ever anyone is doubting themselves or what they want to go for, their goals, their dreams, their purposes, anything along those lines, just remind yourself while you're doing it, and look at that, the things that you're doing every day, that little thing. If you can do a small little action every single day, it will support you and help you in moving in that direction. And that's exactly what I did. And, and then reflecting on it regularly, looking, at the end of each day, what have I achieved today? I have an ongoing joke with my clients where I've got, I call it a success list. And I still have it today. I have it in my planner. I'm literally looking at it now. And it's like a long list of things that I need to do every day. And I tick them off. Something really satisfying, isn't there, about ticking things off as you go. And again, that helps me with my self-belief, even today, because I know that I'm doing the small steps that are going to support me of getting to that next level.
Absolutely brilliant. So it is just those little steps, like you say, because building confidence doesn't happen overnight. And it's really easy to look at somebody's journey and be like, wow, look how fantastic. I can't actually do that. When, as you say, actually I can. And it does literally just start from those consistent steps every single day. But hats off to you, because that was such a brave, courageous move that you made. There was nobody around you that really understood your vision. And it's really easy to stay stuck where you are when everybody's doing the same thing. But you just had that confidence and the self-belief. But also what I picked up on as well is the fear. Fear.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, you will get fear no matter what you're doing, but it's just endeavoring, going for it anyway. How do you find you navigate through fear? Have you found that it's gotten easier as you've, grown your business? Is it something that's changed, or do you manage it differently?
Do you know what? I think fear comes up at no matter what level, what stage of life you're at. It's always going to come up. I still sometimes wake up feeling a little bit uncertain about some, decisions that I make. And it was definitely apparent back then also, but I think one of the big things to kind of help with fear is, to stop asking yourself, why is it not working, or should something be happening now, and instead kind of reframing those questions to yourself, and saying, does this feel aligned?
Mm.
Is it moving me closer to where I want to be? And I think with fear, that's where I remember sort of asking myself these questions and reframing my mindset. And that's actually where the leadership of everything that I do actually really started, because it is about, again, those small steps, those small decisions that feel aligned, with your values, even when no one else can actually see it or support you with that outcome. And I think over time, those choices, they do create that evidence, not just externally, but actually internally in yourself. And actually it's about trusting yourself. So I think when it comes to fear, for me, it was about just reframing those questions in my mind, especially those limiting beliefs that are kind of saying, oh, no, Kayleigh, you're not good enough, or you can't do this, or what do you know about building a business? You're a teacher. All the things that are going to sort of go through in people's minds. But I think it's very natural. It's very natural to fear things and to allow limiting beliefs to creep in our minds. But it's about reframing. It's all about reframing. And again, going back to that reminder of why are we doing this in the first place? Reminding ourselves of our why.
Absolutely. I have to move on now to your documentary, because honestly, so just to rewind back to October, I had the incredible opportunity of attending your documentary. Now, what I love about what you've created with your business is community. You mentioned that you didn't have a community, so you were like, right, I'm going to create one to really help empower women. And because I'd never been a part of a community myself, I started my business and my brand last year. I was by myself. I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And you've really welcomed me into your community. So your documentary, we're talking London, Trafalgar Square. The first time that I'd met up with everyone, I was a bit like, oh my gosh, new people, but stunning, stunning. So first of all, meeting your community was sensational. And then I remember walking over with Tracy, one of the ladies there. We were like, oh, we going the right way. Where are we going? All of a sudden, we look up up and there is your face on Trafalgar Square billboard, and literally our jaws hit the floor. We were like, wow. And then you emerged with your lovely fiance, your daughter, in this beautiful gown. We had crowds of people taking pictures of you, videoing. We had videographers. You were literally a film star. You went from, being an assistant head teacher to an actual documentary star. Incredible. Honestly. So I would love to dive in more as to, why you created the documentary, what this means for you, and anything else that you want to give. Because honestly, I was like, if Kayleigh can do a documentary, maybe I can too.
Absolutely. Anyone can. But thank you so much. It was definitely an experience, and it actually was one of my childhood dreams to have not quite my own documentary, but to basically be in a film and be in Leicester Square. And obviously as you grow and as you develop and become an adult, different opportunities come in front of you. But the documentary itself really did come up from a place of honesty. And it is very vulnerable. I think
Yeah.
I'm very much a person who will absolutely take people on the journey, but my backstory is a very vulnerable, story to share. And as I'm sure many people have, elements of their past in their story that they don't want to bring up and they don't like to. But actually, for me, I kind of felt like it was an opportunity to share the whole story, because people know me as this business strategist, the person that's helping people become iconic leaders,
Yeah.
and no one actually really knows that I went through the challenges and the struggles that I did. No one really knows that my backgrounds and again, the people pleasing
Yeah.
person hiding behind the mask that I was. So I feel like it was something that I needed to share, to allow my community and my audience to see the real and unfiltered version of Kayleigh from the past, and the whole story. And I think when I realized that, I then started to create the documentary. And I started to invite family, friends to be a part of it. My childhood friends, my childminder from when I was young, she's in it, and then all my clients. And what I started to see, because I wrote the whole documentary, but obviously everyone that was part of it was able to say whatever they wanted. And when I started to put it together with the producers, I thought, wow, this is going to change people's lives. This is actually going to help people and give them the reassurance or the guidance or the inspiration that they need, because I'm just a normal person. Like, there's nothing special about me compared to everyone else. I'm a normal person with a normal life. I've gone through, yes, my challenges, my vulnerable moments, and I've created something that I've wanted to. And every single person out there can do exactly the same. So when I started to piece it together with the producers, I was like, this is going to be an opportunity for people to see their own story inside mine, to see different elements of it, to resonate, to connect, whether they're a mum, for example, or whether they've gone through divorce, whether they were brought up in a very middle class background like I was, and saying you have to go to university and you have to do this, and all of these elements that come out of my story. I thought, well, people will be able to connect with that, or they might be able to connect with that and that and that. And everyone's got a dream. Everyone's got a dream. And no matter who they are, where they're from, whether they're male, female, it doesn't matter. I think it's a case of just really understanding that if you have a dream and you have the self-belief to go with it, you can achieve whatever you want to.
Honestly, the documentary blew me away. And I love the purpose behind why you created the documentary, because I know there's a lot of people out there which do it for the fame and the all of the razzmatazz and all of that good stuff, but your genuine purpose was to inspire people and to have an impact on as many people as possible. And you were so bold and courageous to show your vulnerable side, and it really is something which showcases that you can literally do anything you want. So whoever's listening to this, please make sure you watch this documentary. Actually, I can. It is incredible. I loved every second. And it leads me on to my next question about you as a person, Kayleigh. Now, what I teach with the mindset model is very much about identity. Now, you have created an identity of an iconic leader. Please tell us a little bit more about that, and how you created this, and the teachings that you do as well. We would love to hear more about this.
Absolutely. It links so well with all of the identity work. And I think the work that I do is, first of all, it's about stripping back. I think we're in a world right now where everything is curated, it's edited, it's filtered. There's so many elements of people's lives that just literally show the show reels, as we say on social
Yeah.
media, which is really evident, and even more so than ever before. Obviously, with AI, people are creating images, videos of themselves using AI that it's not real.
Yeah.
And the work that I do is really about stripping back and allowing individuals to come out as themselves. So whatever's behind the mask, again, I think
Yes.
because of my story, it's all about people pleasing, and I used to hide behind that mask for so many years. That actually, this is about taking that mask off, standing up, and sharing with the world who you are, your voice, your vision, your values, your beliefs, your opinions, because every single voice is worth listening to. Every single person has a unique identity. Every single person has their own opinions and beliefs, and they deserve to be heard. They deserve to be spotlighted. They deserve to be felt by other people. So a lot of the work that I do starts there with the identity of who you are as an individual. And then what we do is we then bring that out in a very confident but calm way. I don't like the in your face,
Yeah.
bold, shouting kind of feel of anything. And obviously I support a lot of female business owners, but it's about being you as an iconic leader, standing up as an icon, because again, anyone can be an icon, whether you're a business owner or not, it doesn't even matter. It's about you as an individual. You can be an icon. You can share your own stories. You can share your own vision, your values, your beliefs, regardless of whether you've got a business or not. And then obviously generally speaking, I support people with building businesses, and becoming that iconic leader through, yes, their identity to start with, but then we lean into sort of positioning, messaging, and presence, which is kind of more the business side of things, but it all connects and comes back to that identity. And it's got to be who you are, because I think more so than ever before, and I know you'll agree with this, is people want to connect with people. Like
Yes.
they want to know who the person is. And in the line of work that I do, it's about, again, people are investing money into individuals. So if they're not authentic, if they're not honest, if they're not allowing their own identity to shine through, then what's the point? You're going to get caught out somewhere. So it's a really, really important question to ask, and something that I think people always need to consider. Are you being authentic? Are you being the real you?
Absolutely, such a powerful message. And, I am with you on this. Authenticity and being your true self is so important. But it's also really hard as well when you've spent your entire life people pleasing, trying to be like everyone else, trying to fit in. It can be a little bit of a challenge to actually take a step back and be like, am I actually being myself? And I know that, what you do in your programs, I mean, I'm a part of your Unstoppable community, which is amazing. And when I do your programs, I do feel unstoppable. And, your key teachings in there is very much, who are you? Are you being your true self? Take off that mask. And I think that is the most important thing before all of the other stuff comes in, like, learning how to do things, the business strategy and everything like that. Because like you say, there's so many people out there which have got their businesses, but they're not being their true self. And I think people can really see through that. And it does really reflect in your energy as well. So that's incredible what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I do. I think they can sense it. And a lot of it is about energy as well. I always say in
Yes.
terms of energy exchange. And again, it doesn't have to apply to business. It could be anyone at all. If you're giving out energy that feels kind of untruthful or nervous or anxious or vulnerable or whatever it is, you know, people are going to sense it. So I
Yeah.
think always a reminder for people is, what is the energy that you're giving off to people? Because that will allow them to receive and then obviously reflect that same energy. So if you are a person or an individual and you want to come across confident, say for example in an interview or, you know, on a podcast or I don't know, even just with a conversation with someone, you want to create that energy that's going to allow them to feel confident in you and be able to kind of really trust you and understand who you are. So I think, yeah, absolutely, the energy and the energy exchange is so important, and it links so closely to identity work.
Absolutely. So there we have it, everyone. Energy. Make sure you're being your authentic self, and the energy that you're giving off is something that people can really resonate with as well. So Kayleigh, you are here to make an impact. You are growing. You are here to make some changes. I would love to hear what you've got planning. What's next? Can you give us a few sneak peeks into things, like how, you know, what's happening? Tell us everything.
Yeah, so obviously the documentary is now released. So the documentary has been sort of a big part of the last 18 months. So that's
Where
been
can we
a
find
massive.
the documentary?
It's on YouTube, and I'm sure if you allow it, we can put the link in the show notes or
Absolutely.
available for
That
people.
link is going straight in the show notes, my love. So make sure you click on that link after listening to this.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that's available in YouTube. But that project's now out there. So what we are focusing on this year, you know, this is a big year in terms of going a lot deeper into the work that we do. I'm speaking a lot of big events. So we're trying to really create even more impact and support even more women around the world. So again, it will be mainly in the UK on stages, but also internationally when it comes to sort of, you know, speaking in other kind of communities online. And, you know, we really are here. Well, I'm here personally, but my team with me, to make as much impact as possible to really help and support people. So yeah, we've got lots of events coming up that we're going to and speaking at. We have also got some incredible, exciting projects that are coming up. We can't necessarily share the details for
Ooh.
yet, but more opportunities for people to kind of really dive into the self-belief work, as well as obviously all of the business things that I do. You know, the root of everything I do, as we know, is all about self-belief. So the more that I can do with that, and we're also writing our second book. So excited that hopefully, haven't got the release date yet, hopefully that will come out later this year. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Okay, so we have got a lot to look out for this year from you, Kayleigh. Very excited for this. So for anyone that's listening to this podcast, or if you're watching us on YouTube now, what have you learned throughout your journey? What top pieces of advice could you give to anyone who's looking at you thinking, wow, 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 how can I make an impact? How can I grow my business? What pieces of advice would you give?
So I think one of the first ones, it comes back to that kind of self-belief piece. And
Yeah.
again, just, you know, really making sure that you believe in what you're doing. Because I think if you have got doubts, and like I said, there's always going to be fear, and you're always going to have like little doubts of certain things that you do, but you've got to believe in the end mission, like, or the overall mission and vision. And if you don't, then go back to it and say, like, why do I not believe in this? And actually try to work through some of the mindset work that really going to support you. Because I think that self-belief piece is so important. But if you don't believe in your own vision, we've got a problem. So
Yeah. Yeah,
so go
we do.
back and do the mindset work to help you with that. So that's like the first thing, is just actually make sure you believe in the vision or mission, and then potentially tweak it, change it, but work on the limiting beliefs. We'll do the actual mindset work kind of around that. And then I think the other piece of advice is, and this is really honestly through my own experience, is be yourself. No matter what people tell you, no matter what you see out there, it is so easy to mimic or copy or try to do what other people are doing out there, whether they're successful in business or successful in their jobs or successful in their personal relationships. But whatever it is that they're doing it because of who they are
Mm.
and the situation, the circumstances that revolve around them. And this is my biggest piece of advice, because I fell short of this, is honestly make sure that you are you, authentically you, and you're staying in your lane, because it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. Ignore all the noise, ignore what everyone else is doing. the one and only way that you're going to succeed or achieve whatever goals that you have is to stay in your lane, and obviously to make sure that you're doing things for you, okay, or for the people that you're wanting to impact and support at the time, because everyone's different, everyone's life is different, everyone's circumstances and situations are different. So if it worked for someone else, it won't necessarily work for you. And I think that's one of the biggest and honest pieces of advice that I can give based on my own mistakes. But it honestly is true. And I think there are so many people, unfortunately, that do fall into the trap of, I'm just going to do what so and so's done because it worked for them. It doesn't necessarily work in
Yeah.
that way. Yes, learn from them, absolutely be inspired by them and learn from them and take on incredible, strategies or ideas and concepts. But make sure that you're still focused on your vision and your mission and that you're staying in your lane. I think that's a really important piece of advice.
Those are two incredible pieces of advice. And the most important, they seem quite simple, but they're really not. And when you're actually in this journey of creating a brand and a business and going out and doing things that most other people don't do. I mean, last year I went out and delivered a 1 minute monologue. I decided to get acting lessons, the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, but I did it to build my confidence. I started doing like adverts and, even just launching a business. These things are scary, but when you believe in yourself and you have that vision, like you say, it will work. But also, what I've noticed as well, along my journey, is very similar to what you said. It's like it's very easy to copy what other people are doing because you think that's the best way, when it's so important to go in and do the inner work and be like, what would work for me and my unique skills and what I have to give as well. So that is incredible. And then finally, Kayleigh, where can we find you? Where can our listeners connect with you, get in your energy, and all of that good stuff?
Of course. So the best place to connect with me is over on probably on Instagram or Facebook. They're the two sort of main platforms I use in terms of social media. And literally just type in the name Kayleigh Greenacre and you'll be able to find me. Or listen to the podcast. I've got my own podcast called Actually I Can, the Female Entrepreneur Podcast. So if you are an entrepreneur, listen to that. If you're not, you can still listen to it anyway. And then YouTube as well. I've got my YouTube channel also where I'm delivering lots of tools and exciting things. And very, very soon we've got our vlog coming out as well. So it take you behind the scenes of being
Wow.
a mummy entrepreneur.
A
So
vlog.
yes,
That's fantastic.
yes, very looking forward to it. I should have said that earlier actually
Yeah.
when you
Wow.
said what are the things coming up. That's one of the projects for this year, but that's not a secret. That is very exciting. Yes. So there we go.
Absolutely amazing. I will put all of these in the show notes, so everyone can find you. But I just wanted to say, Kayleigh, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, on the podcast. You are such an inspiration, and thank you so much for all of the work that you've done, leading the way for all of those female entrepreneurs out there.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so, so much for having me.
Fabulous. Well, there we have it. It's been an absolute delight to have you all listening and watching, if you're watching us on YouTube. And I will see you in the next episode.